Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stillness in the Storm Show. I'm your host, Justin Deschamps. And today we have as our guest, Neil Gar from portaltoascension.com. Neil's been running Portal to Ascension for several years now. Some of you might have seen some fascinating speakers on Portal to Ascension. There's a lot of amazing content coming through that portal. It tends to feature webinars and all sorts of interesting speakers. And Neil has some amazing events got lined up for this year, so we're going to talk to him about that. So everybody, welcome Neil Gar to the show. Neil, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. Great to have you. So tell us a little bit about how this Portal to Ascension got started. When did you get this thing moving?
Right. So Portal to Ascension, the actual creating events and organizing as a business and becoming what it is now, really started in around 2009. Before that, basically my awakening experience was from around 2000 to 2006, where I was going deep into all of this awareness and I was figuring out a lot about ancient civilizations. My real mission was to find out how all religion where it all came from. There's so many similarities. I wanted to draw parallels, and Portal to Ascension, really the beginning of it was to prove through ancient civilizations, tracing back religions, to prove that we all came from one source. So I was trying to conceptualize that in my head. And then in 2008, through creating an online group, thousands of people started joining. So I decided that I wanted to start creating local community groups, like New York, we had UK, we had Canada, and we had one in California. So I figured maybe I could start doing some events and maybe some of these people would show up. So in 2008, 2009, we started with like a small meditation event. One of my best friends in 2010, we did something called Hypno Creativity, which was like him doing hypnosis with like kind of dubstep trance music that would allow people to release creative blocks so that they could funnel their gifts. So that was how we really started. But while that was going on, I was also deeply involved into the ancient alien phenomena. So I started contacting and emailing a lot of these speakers that I would see online that I've been following for years, like William Henry, different speakers that are actually on the Ancient Alien show. And I would say like, hey, maybe we can meet up and like hang out. So I'd either meet them up at an event. And then ultimately I started saying, what can I bring you down here and start doing events for you? So come 2010 to 2011, Portal to Ascension, we began doing all day Ancient Alien conferences. And we'd have like maybe 4 speakers in one day, like Laura Eisenhower, Mike Barra, and a couple other people. And then sometimes we would do like half-day workshops on sound healing frequencies, things like that. And then in 2010, I actually left my job. I was a web designer at the time. I left my job to jump on the road and be full-time traveling in order to spread this awareness with a friend of mine called Dr. Dream, in which we did 2 tours that year. We did the Tour of Love tour, where we were doing energy meditation techniques all up the coast from California to Boise to Vancouver, back down to San Diego. And then after that was done, we jumped onto another tour with my friend Brad Johnson, who channels a being called the Dronist from Sirius. And we were doing the Extraterrestrial channeling tour. So at this time, it wasn't really like a job or a business. It was completely a hobby. I was taking loans out. I was like saving my money and doing this stuff. But while we were doing that, we were building our email list and getting bigger and bigger, right? So in 2012, we did 2 events. We did the Cosmic Reunion 2012, Cosmic Reunion 4th Density. And that was like the milestone where I was like, whoa, we've gained so much momentum. We have so many people that are contacting us. We've got these relationships with these speakers. Why don't we go ahead and create conferences on extraterrestrials and ancient civilizations and see who shows up? So we did pretty well. We had 300 the first one. The second one didn't do too well, so much so that I almost quit Portal to Ascension entirely, and I got evicted from the place I was living at because we couldn't afford rent because of all the money we put in it. Yeah. So like after when we hit the road, we continued touring. We just went from city to city, staying at people's houses, doing channeling events, doing sound healing events. And when I finally was like, all right, screw this, I'm going back to the 9 to 5. I'm like, this isn't paying off anymore. I need to I'm getting older. I need to sustain myself. At that point, an angel investor showed up, hooked us up with some money so that we could resurrect. And then also, I decided that instead of doing live events, I'm going to go 100% online, where now there's no overhead costs. All I do is pay for Zoom every single month, and I'm able to bring this to the world and even market to every single person on the planet rather than one local city. So since then, That was 3.5 years ago. Since then, we've been doing webinars. We started with 1 a month. We went to 2 a month. Now we're at 3 a month. We do one all-day conference a month, like physics of the universe, sacred geometry online conference, sacred sexuality online conference, like every type of topic. And then we have 2 or 3 individual presentations with all the conscious speakers that we can really, all the way from the people that are really famous to ones that are just coming out and need a platform to get their information out. So we've now become what I like to call like a one-stop shop for consciousness, that as we all awaken and evolve to this higher age, there needs to be some sort of university where you can actually interact with speakers one-on-one. It's not just like a documentary. You get to interact with people, ask them the questions, and get a complete download just by coming to our website.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like what a story. I mean, there's so much in there to dial into it. One thing that I think is really important for what we're trying to do as far as awakened consciousness is build that community space. And, we're living in the age of technology where we can actually do that. We can create these, venues where multiple different speakers can come and interact with people who are interested in, I would argue for most of human history, we've kind of been in this compartmentalized island space where somebody's working on one thing and they're doing a lot of great work, but somebody even maybe 100 miles away might not even know they exist. Well, now we have this amazing, beautiful space where the synthesis can happen, and these premier figures in the field can also interact with some of the up and coming folks, and all this beautiful information can get out into the hands of the people. Wonderful. That's fascinating. And so,
and to add
please.
to what you just said right there, go ahead. I was going to say, to add to what you just said right there, that's interesting, because what I've noticed is that a lot of the speakers I work with started doing what they're doing 30, 40, sometimes even more than that years ago, when the internet and social media isn't at where it is now. So a lot of them got pigeonholed, if you will, into their specific modality of sharing awareness, that they were so deeply involved in it, they don't have time in the time of information to get information from other people. And there's missing links, like, because I work with everyone, I like see the missing links, and I like wish I could just have longer conversations with people to be like, well, you need to talk to this speaker, well, he's got the free energy device for this guy, and it's because they don't have time to really delve into all that. So what we've become is also, we've become a place where people that are even quote unquote like don't agree with each other, and have different perspectives, now can come under one umbrella to have a debate about it. But also, I'm attempting to create a mailing list for all the speakers, where the speakers get free access to every one of our webinars through an email list, automated email list, so that we can give them all this information, and they have the opportunity to, listen to other people and what else is coming out there.
Right. And I think that's crucially important, because for so long, we've been living in these compartmentalized spheres where we're doing this individual work, and that was certainly a phase of where we're at. But now, I feel like with the internet and social media, and especially the newer generations that are coming onto the scene, they're looking for synthesis. They're looking for, okay, well, yes, we know that extraterrestrials exist, or we know about free energy, but how can we use this in our lives? Right. How can we take this information and make it practical? And what I really thought was amazing of what you mentioned is that it's an online university, but also like a forum for people to come together, which I think is the next step in the kind of consciousness evolution that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the younger generations. The younger generations seem very quick to absorb information, and things like, for example, there was an official disclosure that kind of happened on the 16th of December where this Pentagon pilot, I'm sure you've heard of it, started releasing this video, and the Pentagon had to deny that they had a program, and it was a major event. Well, there's a lot of the newer generations, they're like, okay, well, this is interesting, but what does this mean? What can we do with this? Right. So having that ability to kind of bridge the gap between the younger and the older, I think, is really an amazing thing in a venue that we should nurture and cater towards.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually one of the cornerstones of what our mission is to bridge the gap, because I've been going to these expos for a long time, and most of the people there are older people, like maybe like in the 30s older, but the younger ones are always at festivals. They're not
Right.
they're not coming to this. So like we have this entertainment approach to it all, where when we did the live events, our live events are so entertaining. Like we incorporate sound healing music; it just flows in. It's like a psychedelic journey just to be a part of it. So we're bringing in, I feel, the younger crowd, and also like just connecting with yourself, Teresa, and Jordan, and realizing that you guys are three of like the pillars of like what's going to be happening next. So I'm realizing that right now, just in my own community in Irvine area, I just met like 3 or 4 other people that are in their 20s that are same level as what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, okay, all these people that are next level thinkers, right, that are going to be creating this new thing are now manifesting themselves in my reality.
Exactly. And I was really honored to have you reach out to me, because basically the platform you just described, that model is the same thing I'm trying to build with Stillness, is create a place where the synthesis can happen, where all these disparate pieces can come together and almost any idea can be discussed, and we all can build this community space to work together with all these truths that are just pouring out day by day into our field. So I think, yeah, what you're building and what others are trying to build is really going to be the foundation for this new wave of consciousness evolution and activism and what I call world healing work that's going to really take off in the next few years here.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I know this year it seems like you have a lot happening. I mean, it sounds like you've had a lot happening before, but I know you have a major event coming up in October of this year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Can you
right.
tell us a little about that?
Okay, so from now on till October, everything we do, every event we do, we're going to be pushing the October event. So I've created a 10-month plan that I don't really have anything planned until for after October, but it ends October 5th, 6th, and 7th with the Portal to Ascension conference. And at that event, there's the 3 pillars of what Portal to Ascension is what that event represents. And what we are is extraterrestrial awareness, whether that's past, present, future, ancient aliens, what's going on right now with disclosure, the future implications of disclosure, ancient civilizations and lost hidden origins, so a true world history, and then the evolution of consciousness. So the Portal to Ascension conference is basically going to be at that point a 10-year effort to get to a level where we can create an event that's branded under our name that incorporates every single topic that we're doing. And before in the past, I couldn't. It was almost like too new age, even if I had disclosure people in there, that now I can be as quantum physics, vibration, frequency as I want. And it's been proven through science, and like everybody's open to it. And even like what Tom DeLonge said about ancient Atlantis and what the government thinks about them, and just everything is coming together so much now that there's too much evidence to deny that this is real. Even for example, the CIA documents of the remote viewing of Mars right there, that just like takes you into a whole different esoteric new age realm, right? So now we have people like Graham Hancock going to be there, Nassim Haramein, Daryl Anka, Channels Bashar, Jason Quitt, John D'Souza, ex-FBI agent. Then we have energy healers. We're going to have around 6 or 7 sound healers. We're going to have a gong experience where there's just like 20 gongs in all around the entire room, and people are just going to feel the vibration. And the next day we're going to have a didgeridoo experience with the same thing, but just didgeridoos, So it's like, this is going to be fun, man. But the cool thing is that like this year we're doing multiple tours, Lost Civilizations tour, we're doing Disclosure tour, live events, we're doing a tour of Graham Hancock. And then after we put all this energy out to assist in rewriting the history books and to disclosing the truth of our ancient connection to extraterrestrials, we're all going to bring the entire community together in October. A lot of speakers aren't even going to be speaking, are just going to come there just to be a part of it. And then we're all going to look back at the year. So I'm hoping to make that event a huge celebration.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think one of the things that you mentioned that I focus on in my work as well is the synthesis aspect, but most importantly, what's called epistemology, which is the study of how we know what we know. Mm. And for many years, you'll have some figures out there that they have amazing information, like Daryl Anka, for example, has lots of powerful information. But the scientific basis to underpin why that information is valid doesn't necessarily present it in what he offers.
Yeah.
But when you pair him alongside somebody else who does have that information, now you have a really complete philosophic case or argument to support why this thing is true.
Yeah.
And then once we all agree as a community that, yes, that actually seems like the best explanation for things, well, now we can move together forward in ways that we really haven't been able to do before. So it's really an
Exactly.
unprecedented event happening for sure.
Yeah, we need to bring together the different components so that they can convene with each other and find out. Like a lot of this information, this spiritual information, can be proven, but because a lot of the money isn't spent on it and it's rerouted in different ways, because we can't sit down and be like, okay, if this is real, what gravity will this have in our current situation? What would it mean for our reality now? If that's the case and this is real, it could have a huge implication to make our world a better place. Let's pair this physicist with this channeler, and let's try to see if any of this stuff is real, right?
Right.
And we're not having, like, the only person that's really doing that when it comes to the science, connecting it with the spiritual channelings, would be like someone like Nassim Haramein, and he's ridiculed a lot. So it's like right now, I think the first mainstream movement that's going to be toppled over will be the archaeological movement, because the alternative movement within archaeology is becoming so big that the mainstream people can't even say anything anymore, because the evidence proves that what we've been told isn't the truth.
Precisely. Yeah. There's major paradigm shifts happening. And, one thing that I strategize about it quite frequently, and it sounds like you're in that same frame of mind, is, okay, well, how can we take these things that have kind of been niched for many years and make it more mainstream?
Mm-hmm.
And what's really encouraging, I feel like, is that alongside this push by the alternative community to make things more mainstream, the mainstream tenets and pillars that have put a block on all these subjects are slowly disintegrating.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure how old you are, but I'm 36. I can remember, for years, I also went to school for physics, where it was just totally accepted that we lived in completely alone in the universe. There was no hope of finding life whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about 10 years ago, it slowly started to that meme started to break down. Then we had, the revising of the Drake equation come out. So there's all that happening. And then on top of all that, in the past year, there's all this disintegration of the particle physics with the Standard Model falling apart. They weren't able to find the Higgs boson. They just had all these issues finding dark matter and dark energy. Now they're starting to wonder, well, maybe we have like a more of an electromagnetic universe than we thought. So we really have these kind of like two things coming together in this unique way that we haven't had in a long, long time.
Right.
And this beautiful event that you're putting on will really be able to showcase a lot of that stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like any definite answer, just from the understanding of what you just said about like how things are changing, things that we really knew that this is how it is, this is how the reality is, and then all of a sudden it's completely different. Just seeing the humanity's track record of that makes me realize that nothing is definite, So like, there's always like a level of what if, what next, because what I feel like we're seeing and we're peeking through is like we're finally getting to the level of consciousness where we're actually seeing the illusion.
Right.
Like we're like, holy crap, this isn't what quantum physics and physics doesn't go hand in hand. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We just discovered the paradox, and people don't realize like the universe is a paradox. It exists and it doesn't. Like, it's infinite, but it's finite, because how can anything be infinite? Because our brains can't even fathom it. So it's like, so what that means is what Nassim Haramein said when he was a young kid, when he had that enlightenment experience. He saw that he went into the smallest cell, right? And he kept going, division, 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 division. You can divide continuously. So we can fathom, you can divide internally. So what the external reality is a reflection of the division within, because everything is within us, and the external reality is just the illusion of the true fact that we can divide ourselves into infinity.
Precisely. Right. So it's that kind of the transcendent truths that really it takes a holistic perspective. And, I study philosophy quite a bit, and there's kind of two general ways you can think about phenomena. One is in a specific menu, so you dial into the specifics, but then there's generalist thinking, where you're looking at all the pieces and you're asking yourself, okay, well, what does all this mean in relation to things? And I would argue that the perspective of spirituality itself is the ability to look back and see how all those pieces come together, which, in relation to what you were just describing, when you look within, it's the same basic idea. You have this universe within you that is a reflection of the outside, and the outside is a reflection with inside. So that having that philosophy kind of embedded in the platform with which you're bringing this information out is, I think, so in harmony with the grand kind of themes of the universe itself. Yeah. So as far as what would you say is maybe the three biggest topics that you think are of a crucial importance for what's moving forward here in the next few years?
I would say, like, honestly, the extraterrestrial implication is like the number one topic. It goes into every single component of reality, whether it's like the financial system, the petrol dollar, the power elite, like just and we each one of those things I just said right now can be our own topic. But like, let's just say petrol, for example. How did they get here? They didn't get here using gas engines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the information that can come out with that, but and then also that ties into everything else. That ties into our true ancient history, but not just our true ancient history, our true galactic history, our ancestry, why we came to this planet, where we came from before that. And then these beings are higher dimensional. That's the evolution of consciousness. That's spirituality. So it's like the ET thing is like the number one thing. And yeah, when we do ET events, it always does the best, and it's my favorite topic too because I've always felt that connection, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I would say that anything ancient civilizations, we're doing a lot of forbidden archaeology right now. A lot of things are coming out, like Göbekli Tepe, and then
Right.
also the land bridge that they found from the tip of India to Sri Lanka. That's the same bridge that Hanuman created in the Ramayana, and
Mm-hmm.
it's man-made, so it's 13,000 years old. The last ice age, Atlantis fell at the same time. Like boom, like all of this esoteric New Age information being proven, right?
Right.
So when I first started Portal Ascension, my like mantra used to be is that I'm here to show the linear-minded people about consciousness. So what I'm attempting to do is I'm providing so much information that you can doubt. You have no reasonable doubt to believe that consciousness isn't real, spirituality, and we're all spiritual beings. Like, so I'm just providing this information for more and more people to really get it. Because even though we attract obviously people who are into this stuff, I'm attempting to team up with people and do marketing techniques and cater events to start capturing the rest of the people. And what I've really done is I've created an organization, an industry that's kind of hovering right now, but is about to like go hardcore next level because I've created a business that is going to be needed for this new world. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's we're also moving into a more communal space within the awakening community itself.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up back in 2010. I started doing more public work in beginning in 2013, and I spoke at a conference last year, and the amount of let's see, the old paradigm of kind of you trying to do it all on your own, what I call an Atlas complex. It's like, all right, well, I have all these world problems I got to solve, and I guess it's just me out there. Well, now we're in this time where it isn't just you out there. You have all these other people that are doing it too.
Yeah.
So if you're able to, and that's what sounds like you're creating here, is this platform where we all can kind of work together and do it with support. I mean, this idea that we need to be like spiritual starving people that or doing all this work, but we have no funds to do anything with it at the same time. It's a very old paradigm,
Yeah.
but now we're coming into this platform where, well, we can really use money and these technology and tools to enhance the consciousness, and we can do more and better work as a result. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, collaboration instead of competition, because we need to realize that the principle of one of the most spiritual principles in our
Oh.
right? But how many people implement that? Because
Hold on one second. You just lagged out. Can
sorry.
you start off with
Yeah,
the spiritual principles? Yeah.
Okay, so one of the number one spiritual principles we hear all the time is the universe is an abundant place, right?
Right.
And it's not just being said in order to be new agey. It's like real that there's energy everywhere. All things are energy. This is a quantum reality. You can manifest anything. It's just your level of consciousness that manifests that reality for you. However, within the spiritual community that I've noticed this whole time I've been working with so many people is that there's so much competition because we all got to survive. We all got to eat. Even from a yoga center, one yoga center competes over another one. Another Reiki master competes over another one. What would happen if we all collectively put that to the side, realize the universe is an abundant place, and then work together? It might take a little time, a little process, but that's what eventually needs to happen so that we can create this new world. So that's what we're attempting to do. We have many different projects that we're going to be working on after this business is fully automated. We're going to start creating a database where all these practitioners can even put their information in there, and we promote everyone. People can go in and put their zip code. So we're attempting to assist, I guess, the spiritual community in really living in the principles that we know will create this new heaven on earth.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. One of the things I study quite a bit is law, and looking at how beings of consciousness will come together in community. And one of the spiritual aspects of the lawful system that seems to be reflected everywhere is that the one became many. So there's the creator that we are reflections of, but then in the creation, the task or the challenge or the opportunity is to set aside our differences, work through these obstacles, and in the process weave a community space together. And that's like the backbone of all abundance, is when two beings of free will speak their mind, get clear on what they want, have a meeting of the minds, form some type of energetic bond, and then they use that energy between them to create something they didn't have separately. And that's basically, that sounds like what you're trying to do with this project.
Exactly.
So that's beautiful. Well, great. Neil, it's been a wonderful talk. I'm really excited to hear what you've got moving forward. And I definitely want to get with you on some of this stuff, because a lot of the things I'm trying to do with my work aligns quite well with yours. And I definitely want to partner you in that regard.
Yeah, let's do it, bro. I want to like as we just said, the collaboration component, we're all doing our own thing, and some of our stuff is crossing over because we're doing similar things too. So like we should just come together, and together we have a bigger reach.
Absolutely. So, as a final thought, what events can you tell us about that we can look forward to, that maybe people can sign up for or learn more about?
Yes. So the number one event that is coming up is the Extraterrestrial Disclosure Online Summit 2018. So on January 20th and January 21st, speakers like Trisha McKinnon, Brian Forster, Graham Hancock, not Graham Hancock, he's another one, Grant Cameron, Nick Pope, Jordan Sather, John D'Souza, who was the X-Men for the FBI, and a few other individuals. We've done 2 last year that did pretty well, but this is in perfect timing for what's happening right now, so we can really delve into it. We're going to do everything from talking about the nuts and bolts when it comes to Grant Cameron and Nick Pope, and actually what's going on behind the scenes, to ancient civilizations and the extraterrestrial connection. And then we're going to end it with, obviously, the spiritual connection to extraterrestrial consciousness. So that one's coming up January 20th and 21st, which is like 10 days from now. So if you guys want to sign up, we just relaunched our website yesterday or day before yesterday. So go to portaltoascension.org. You can actually sign up on our website, right on the email capture right there. You'll automatically get a login information for your membership dashboard. And we have hundreds of hours of free footage for everybody who signs up. And then obviously you can purchase a fuller membership, get more footage. So go check out our website. But then after that, we have the Lost Civilizations Tour. That's going to be with Graham Hancock, Michael Tellinger, Trish McKinnon, Brian Forrester, Hugh Newman. And then we're going to be doing the Disclosure Tour, where we're going to have people like Paul Harris, Grant Cameron, Paul Hellier, and Stephen Greer. So we're just hitting the road. Everything's being live streamed, and really going to go take this to local communities. And you can check out to see if we're in a city near you, so that you can come attend.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds great. We're really looking forward to it. I know I will be speaking at one of these events, I believe in June, is it?
May 26th.
May 26th, that's right. Okay, great. And I'll also be at the big event in October, so I'm really looking forward to that. So wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Neil, for coming on. Everybody, take some time to check out portaltoascension.com. There's lots of great content there, and it's going to be a nexus for a lot of things, I have a feeling, in the next few years. So keep your eye out for that. All right, wonderful. Well, thanks, everybody. Take care and stay conscious. I'll see you next time.